Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Does Hope swirl the drain with Finn in Twist of Fate? Hope Logan's fall is set up by Bold and the Beautiful, and if Steffy Forrester finds another murderer in her husband's gene pool, Finn's marriage would soon face difficulties. Steffy goes to her parents for support as it appears that the Finnegan household is dealing with a new issue this week. However, it also sounds like it might result in a plot that B&B fans are tired of. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful: is Logan derailed? Hope Logan and Carter Walton are put to the test in Bold and the Beautiful. These days, it appears that lust is what motivates both of these B&B personalities. There is nothing unique about their frenzied lovemaking. Recently, both had been in relationships where risque actions took place every day on a bed, desk, table, and couch. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful: John Finnegan Finn and Hope Logan. However, they are currently in a committed relationship. However, things might soon alter because of Steffy Forrester's Jacqueline McInnes Wood plot. Carter is then put to the test by Daphne Rose's insatiable purring. Carter's lust appears to be his driving force, and he already appears seduced by the woman's enchanted scent. Hope Logan is dismayed because it appears like Bold and the Beautiful fans believe Carter Walton takes the bait. Finn survives a storm in B&B spoilers. I hope Logan's world falls apart. However, according to teasers for the Bold and the Beautiful, Finn and Steffy receive some news from his parents across town. He talks to Lee and Jack Finnegan about something that seems serious. The groundwork for this past week was established by Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy and Finn discussed the potential reunion of Finn's parents. Finn, however, thought it was unlikely. However, Lee achieved a breakthrough. She comes to the realization today that her imagined affair between Jack and Poppy Nozawa has been a little too sinister. When Lee summoned him to her office, Jack felt hopeful. He assumed that she was becoming softer and that perhaps they might reconnect. However, Finn finds something that happened this week unsettling. Many fans believe that Finn is going to discover that his daughter, Luna Nozawa, is his, which would probably make Steffy Forrester forget about him. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful: Hope and Finn experience significant upheavals. Fans of Bold and the Beautiful are tired of Luna's "who is the daddy" plot. However, they are even more appalled by the slim chance that Steffy will look for Liam Spencer when her entire world collapses. However, because Carter already seems to be swooning with Daphne Rose, if they do that again, Hope would be left without him. According to the predictions, Finn can lose his wife if he discovers he is the father of his violent cousin. John Finnegan's Hope Logan Finn is Bold and Beautiful. There are several reasons why the Forrester daughter would desert him. This might entail shielding her children from the terrible legacy that would probably follow them if word spreads. Whether Finn is the father of the errant intern is unknown. However, when he speaks to his mother, Lee, this week, he appears to be very worried and remorseful. He wants to know how and why his mother performed a paternity test. Finn appeared to become anxious when his mother listed the men who weren't the father. Perhaps Finn had a liaison with his aunt. If this is the case, his expression suggested that he was unaware that he was the father of her child. B&B spoilers: two portless ships? They will probably get together if Hope Logan loses Carter Walton and Finn becomes an outsider among his wife. If this is the path Bold and the Beautiful intends to go with the soap opera, Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, returned just in time. Hope was so impressed by Finn's treatment of his wife that he would be the next likely conquest if she ended up without Carter. But before this is even a possibility, a lot needs to happen. Nonetheless, clues regarding Finn's potential paternity of Luna Nozawa keep coming to light. Furthermore, Carter Walton may discover that he is unable to resist the allure of the woman with the well-known nose. Is Hope dethroned after Carter overreacts? On the CBS soap opera Bold and the Beautiful, Hope Logan is on the verge of falling because Carter Walton's ego is about to explode due to the two women treating him like the new king of Forrester creations. Steffy Forrester is immediately in awe of the businessman who took over the company. Additionally, one of those business transactions included a stunning woman who adores the new head honcho whenever she had the chance. According to B&B teasers, Carter rides high and quickly pushes Hope aside. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful, Carter Walton's delusions of security intensify. Hope Logan from Bold and the Beautiful is circling FC like a castle queen. As she stands in admiration of his achievements to date, Carter Walton takes in her compliments. However, Steffi Forrester, another audience member, is eagerly awaiting the moment. As Bold and the Beautiful progresses the following week, her strategy is to split Hope and Carter before gaining control. Hope Logan and Carter Walton are both bold and beautiful. Daphne Rose, who is already dancing around Carter and selling more than just her perfume, is Steffi's secret weapon. At work, Steffi plays the role of a Forrester who is awestruck by Carter's plans for the business, despite her anger over what he did to her family. Thus, all of this attention is consumed by Carter Walton. B&B spoilers, does Hope Logan help out? Even though Carter Walton was aware of the poor sales, Bold and the Beautiful managed to get Hope Logan's fashion line back up and running. Forrester Creations is now a little low for designers. Designers are at a minimum now that Ridge Forrester, Thomas Forrester, and Eric Forrester are no longer there. Zend Forrester is the last one remaining. RJ appeared to be a designer hopeful, but he is no longer with us. The Logan daughter must so refocus her hope for the future. She doesn't appear to be doing much, though, to make it happen. Rather, she enjoys the attention that comes with being the new king of FC's queen and uses every chance to make fun of her fiercest competitor. However, spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful indicate that her dethronement is imminent. Carter Walton appears to be a man ready to fall for the trick, with foul-smelling scarves about his head. The brave and the lovely, does Carter turn away from Hope? Carter's facial expressions in Bold and the Beautiful were sufficient to imply that Steffi's scheme is succeeding. Carter appears drawn to the well-known French nose. Although Hope initially overjoyed to have Daphne work with FC, it seems that she quickly realized the drawbacks of having Daphne around. According to teasers for the Bold and the Beautiful, Steffi befriends Carter Walton, who quickly comes to trust her job at FC. However, after Hope for the Future's financial results are released, Steffi might finally confront Carter's business side and persuade him that the corporation won't benefit from his hero-like rescue of Hope's line. Carter might feel that HFTF needs to be put on hold since Daphne is arousing lust and Steffi is pointing out figures. Hope Logan might no longer have a job as a result of this, or at least one with influence. If Brooke witnesses Carter Walton shoving Hope out the door, her tenure as CEO may not last long. As a result, the mother-daughter Logan combination on the CBS serial opera may end up becoming disillusioned ladies-in-waiting. Carter swoons while Hope embarrasses herself. Tension was evident at Forrester Creations as Carter Walton was completely enthralled with Hope Logan's surprising charm. Hope, who had always been regarded as elegant and calm, was behaving a little strangely, allowing her feelings to show in ways that shocked Carter and everyone else in the room. It wasn't your average workday, rather, it was one of those infrequent occasions when personal and professional goals collided, causing mayhem that left Hope flushed and Carter completely enamored. When Hope arrived at the design meeting, obviously agitated and attempting to hide her inner agony, the mayhem started. She was emotionally raw after her recent breakup with Liam Spencer, and it was getting more difficult for her to uphold the flawless persona she had spent so much time developing. Worse, rumors had begun to spread through the Forrester corridors about her increasing intimacy with Carter. Hope maintained to herself and others that their relationship was solely professional, but her sporadic sidelong looks and candid smiles at Carter revealed otherwise. Meanwhile, Carter was in a difficult situation. He was renowned for his keen intellect and steadfast professionalism while serving as COO of Forrester Creations. However, he appeared to lose his cool toward Hope. Although her emotional outbursts started to blur the boundaries between their personal and professional life, he couldn't help but respect her courage because of her vulnerability and tenacity, which spoke to something deep inside of him. Hope vehemently defended her most recent design idea during the meeting, saying it would revitalize the Hope for the Future collection. Unfortunately, when she attempted to convince the doubtful board members of her point, her feelings overcame her. At one point, she even knocked over a glass of water, pouring it all over the immaculate table, and her speech became confused as her voice cracked. As Hope clumsily attempted to recover, her cheeks reddened with shame, the room became silent. Sitting on the other side of the table, Carter was fixated on her. Carter saw only her determination and enthusiasm, while everyone else seemed to be focused on the wreckage she had created. Despite the tension in the room, he couldn't help but smile because he thought her flaws made her even more lovely. Hope observed the warmth in his eyes and felt a glimmer of comfort when she looked up and met his stare. However, that flicker didn't last long. Hope got to her feet and resumed her pitch with new vigor, ready to take back control of the situation. Unfortunately, she unintentionally made a remark that seemed to disregard another board member's suggestion in her rush to show herself. Hope discovered too late that her words had not been well received as gasps reverberated across the room. She apologized right away, but the harm had already been done. Hope felt as though she had completely embarrassed herself, and the meeting concluded with a sense of discomfort. Unable to leave Hope alone in her vulnerable moment, Carter remained in the room while the other board members filed out. Unsure of how to console her without going too far, he approached her warily. "I hope you don't be too hard on yourself," he replied quietly. "You are so skilled at what you do because you were simply pursuing your idea with passion." Hope's eyes were full of tears as she gazed up at him. "I'm grateful for that, Carter, but I think I've just damaged my reputation with the squad. Everyone is most likely laughing at me now since I allowed my emotions to control me." Carter took a step forward, his tone forceful but soft. "Hope, no one is making fun of you. They're probably appreciating your level of concern, if anything. In any case, I thought you were fantastic inside. Undoubtedly flawed, but still incredible." Hope found herself smiling for the first time that day as a result of his comments. However, she had a twinge of remorse when she met Carter's eyes. She was unable to ignore their developing bond or reject the feelings his words evoked in her. However, she was aware that pursuing anything with Carter would only make matters worse, particularly given how chaotic her personal life was currently. The relationship between Carter and Hope kept changing as the days passed. Carter found it harder and harder to conceal his feelings for Hope as she attempted to concentrate on regaining her self-esteem and proving herself to the board. Their discreet chats and sly looks became the talk of the office, generating conjecture about whether or not their relationship was purely professional. Hope, on the other hand, found it difficult to control her emotions. On the one hand, she appreciated Carter's help and respected his fortitude and generosity. However, after everything she had experienced with Liam, she was still afraid of making the same mistake twice. The pull toward Carter was getting stronger, but she didn't want to jeopardize her reputation or profession. Ultimately, Hope and Carter were at a crossroads, uncertain of what lay ahead but unable to ignore the bond that had grown between them. One thing was certain: despite the uncertainty of their future, their lives had become inextricably linked, and neither of them could deny the spark that had been sparked between them. Only the passage of time would tell if it would result in catastrophe or something lovely. Ridge and Taylor's family mission, Finn's discovery. In the high-stakes field of medicine, Dr. John Finn Finnegan had always taken great satisfaction in his ability to maintain composure under duress. However, recent events had put that serenity to the ultimate test. The revelation of his biological origins was no longer a secret hidden in the shadows, rather, it was a reality that rocked the cornerstone of his life. Finn couldn't take the news that his wife Steffi's father, Ridge Forrester, might be his biological father all at once. The ramifications were profound, not only for him but also for Steffi, their kids, and the entire Forrester family. Finn's adventure started with a silent, persistent hunch that Jack and Lee, his adoptive parents, weren't telling him the whole truth. Jack's guilt-ridden silences and Lee's evasiveness had just made him want more information. However, Finn's entire world shifted when Lee eventually acknowledged that she thought Ridge Forrester was his biological father. He experienced a mixture of uncertainty, rage, and a pressing need for explanation. Ridge was caught off guard by the discovery as well. Even though he had experienced many ups and downs in his life, this was a surprise. His longtime confidant and ex-wife, Taylor Hayes, was also taken aback. It was both touching and tragic to consider that they might have a kid together that they were unaware of. Taylor was the one who proposed that they investigate the truth as a family. With a firm but emotional tone, Taylor stated, "We owe it to Finn and to ourselves to figure this out." We must investigate if there is even a possibility that he is your son, Ridge." Ridge nodded, the implications already rushing through his head. Their family dynamic would be permanently altered if Finn was, in fact, his son. It also meant confronting the fact that Steffi, who was already struggling with the notion that her father and her husband were related, would be impacted by this discovery. Steffi struggled to balance her affection for her father with her allegiance to Finn. Even for someone as independent-minded as she was, the idea of her spouse being her half-brother was difficult to process. But even if it meant facing some unpleasant realities, Steffi was committed to helping Finn in his search for answers. In order to confirm or dispel the assumption, Finn insisted on a paternity test as the first stage in their trip. Ridge reluctantly consented to take part. The waiting was agonizing, but the test itself was short. Ridge and Taylor decided to use that time to think back on the past and go through their recollections for any hints as to how this could have occurred. Taylor remembered that she had briefly reconnected with Ridge during one of her separations. One evening while they were sitting in Ridge's office, she told him, "It's possible. We were both at risk during that very perplexing period." If this is accurate, Ridge, Finn is the result of something that existed, although briefly. With a groan, Ridge combed through his hair. "This isn't just about us anymore, Taylor. Finn is a Forrester if he is my son. This entails integrating him into the family, the legacy, and everything else. Are we prepared for that?" Taylor's eyes were determined as she gazed at him. "Ridge, Finn is already a member of the family if he is your son. Giving him the space he deserves and assisting him in understanding who he is are the goals here." Finn's hands trembled as he opened the envelope containing the paternity test results. Standing next to him, Steffi's presence gave him strength. Ridge and Taylor observed from afar, their faces displaying a mixture of fear and excitement. Unquestionably, Finn's biological father was Ridge Forrester. As the realization set in, the room became quiet. The confirmation was a fresh source of uncertainty for Finn, but it was also a relief. He had at last found the answers he was looking for, but they also raised a number of new questions. What impact did this have on his and Steffi's relationship? What impact would this have on his position in the Forrester household? For his part, Ridge was overcome by the knowledge that he had a second son. Unsure of how to close the gap that had just been exposed, he approached Finn warily. "Finn," he said in an unusually quiet voice, "I don't know what to say, other than that I'm here. For whatever you require." Finn's feelings were racing when he glanced at Ridge. His voice broke as he said, "This changes everything. But thank you for saying that." Ever the nurturer, Taylor moved forward to give Finn a hug. She firmly stated, "You are now a member of this family. We are here to support you no matter what." Steffi grappled with her feelings while Finn started to digest the news. Although she was happy to see her husband get the answers he had been looking for, their marriage became even more complicated as a result of the revelation. Given that her father was now also the grandfather of her children, could she handle this new dynamic? Ridge and Taylor made it their goal to help Finn cope with his new reality in spite of the emotional upheaval. They tried to integrate him into their lives, introducing him to Forrester customs and inviting him and Steffi to family dinners. However, the revelation did not excite everyone. Ridge's ex-wife Brooke Logan had a skeptical opinion of the incident. She kept thinking about how this would affect her own relationship with Ridge, particularly if Taylor took advantage of the situation to get to know him better. Brooke's worries threatened to upend the tenuous calm that had been built by adding stress to an already delicate situation. Finn's quest for self-awareness was far from finished. Even though he was now aware of his biological father, he still needed to balance that information with the life he had created. Finding his position in a world that was both familiar and unfamiliar required him to negotiate the intricate web of ties inside the Forrester family. Ridge and Taylor found themselves thinking about their own relationship as they attempted to incorporate Finn into the family. They grew closer as a result of the encounter, which restored a sense of collaboration that had been lost over time. They couldn't deny the residual emotions that arose during their joint assignment, even though their attention was still on Finn. Ultimately, the Forrester family underwent a transformation as a result of Finn's discovery, which went beyond simply revealing his biological heritage. It made them face the past, accept the present, and reconsider the future. It was the start of a new chapter in Finn's life, one that was full with potential and difficulties. Additionally, it was an opportunity for Ridge and Taylor to demonstrate that family, despite its complexity, was worth pursuing. Steffi is surprised when Finn's father's suspicions increase. A man who did not dabble in uncertainty or paranoia was Dr. John Finn Finnegan. He flourished on reason, science, and the indisputable facts he came across on a daily basis in the hospital. However, Finn had been struggling lately with an increasing uneasiness, a persistent itch in the back of his head. It started off as a whisper, a faint, persistent notion, but it soon became more noticeable, particularly when Lee Finnegan, his adopted mother, started acting strangely around him. Her circumspect answers and sidelong glances caused Finn to question his biological heritage. Finn initially dismissed the emotion. He had always been appreciative of Jack for being the father he believed he knew and Lee for raising him. However, ever since Luna entered their lives, the rumors of his biological background had become more persistent. There was something about the young woman that Finn couldn't quite place, whether it was her manner, her eyes, or the subtle yet familiar way she looked. Although the puzzle pieces weren't quite fitting together, they were starting to take shape and reveal a truth that he had previously been afraid to face. Steffi, meanwhile, could feel Finn's uneasiness. Trust had been the foundation of their marriage, but she was worried about Finn's recent actions. He was becoming more and more introverted, preoccupied, and absorbed in his thoughts. Steffi couldn't help but worry because Finn appeared so far away, even during the peaceful times at home. Did he have a problem at work? Was this Sheila Carter, the ghost that hovered over their life all the time? Or was there something more local? Steffi confronted Finn in their living room one evening after putting the children to bed. "You've been aloof lately, Finn. What's happening?" Her tone was stern but compassionate as she requested. She had gotten better at picking fights with her husband, but she couldn't tolerate this. Finn paused, searching for the proper words while stroking his hair. He began to say, "Steffi, it's nothing," but was stopped by the expression in her eyes. He knew better than to try to deflect, and she wasn't buying it. "In fact, it's something. Simply put, my biological family has been on my mind a lot lately. About my background and identity." Steffi's heart warmed up. She was aware that Finn found this a difficult subject. "Finn, you've always known that you were adopted. Why are you considering it now?" He let out a sigh and met her gaze. "It's Luna. Steffi, there's something special about her. There's something about her that I can't quite put my finger on. Like an inexplicable link. Then there's Lee, my mother. Recently, she has been behaving oddly, as if she were concealing something from me." Steffi scowled. She believed Finn's intuition even if she hadn't spent much time with Luna. It was worth listening to if he sensed something was wrong. "Do you believe Lee is concealing information about your biological family?" With caution, she inquired. Finn gave a nod. "I'm not positive, but I keep getting the impression that there's more to the story. And not knowing is making me insane." Steffi put her hand on his and reached out. "Finn, if you think this is vital, we'll work things out. You are entitled to the truth." Finn made the decision to speak with Lee face-to-face the next day. He discovered her in her office, surrounded by documents and medical records. His voice was firm but determined as he stated, "Mom, we need to talk." His tone stunned Lee, and she looked up. "Naturally, Finn. What are you thinking about?" He sat down opposite her and said, "I need you to be honest with me. Are you withholding anything from me regarding my biological family?" Lee's face turned pale, and Finn briefly believed she might be denying it. However, she sighed and reclined in her chair, anguish and remorse mingling in her gaze. "Finn, I've been meaning to tell you something, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I didn't want to cause you any harm." In his chest, his heart thumped. "Mom, what is it? Just tell me, please." Lee was silent for a moment before continuing. Jack is not your biological father, as you are aware. However, you are unaware that your biological father may be closer than you think. Someone you already know. The ramifications of her comments hit Finn like a freight train, causing his mind to race. Who? Who is it? His voice growing with intensity, he demanded. Finn could see the conflict in Lee's eyes as she paused once more. At last, she stated, I think Rich Forrester is your biological father. The words lingered in the atmosphere like a ticking time bomb. Unable to comprehend what she had just said, Finn just stared at her. Forrester Ridge? Steffi's dad? The man he had learned to adore and respect? Even though it didn't make sense, he had a strange sensation of clarity, as though things were now beginning to make sense. However, Steffi entered the room with a shocked expression on her face before he could reply. She had heard everything that was said. What just did you say? With a quivering voice, she inquired. Lee gazed at Steffi with a mix of sadness and guilt. I apologize, Steffi. This is not how I wanted it to come out. However, I do think that Ridge is Finn's biological dad. Steffi had to cling to the doorframe for support since her legs felt like jelly. This isn't possible, she muttered. This alters everything, Finn. Finn got to his feet, his thoughts racing. At this moment, I'm not even sure what to think. However, we must confirm if this is the case. I require answers. Their lives were rocked by the news, and Finn, Steffi, and Lee were left to consider the ramifications. Steffi was left wondering what this meant for their marriage and their future while Finn set out to find the truth. Would this realization be too much for their love to bear? Or would they be permanently split apart by the revelation of Finn's paternity? One thing was certain, their lives would never be the same again, but only time would tell.